In this video, we'll explain every most tragic backstory in one piece, starting with Nico Robin. Robin's backstory is one of those that just keeps getting worse the more you think about it. As a child on Ohara, she was already different because she could read poneglyphs, which in One Piece basically makes you public enemy number one. The world government decides that knowledge is dangerous, so their solution is simple. Destroy the entire island, not capture, not negotiate, just erase it. A full Buster Call wipes out Ohara while Robin watches everything burn. Her mother dies, her people die, and she is left alone at 8 years old with a bounty on her head. Yes, 8. I can barely handle responsibilities now. Imagine being hunted by the government as a kid. After that, she spends years on the run, constantly betrayed because everyone fears her bounty.
I want to live! Take me with you! Take me away from here!
That line, I want to live, hits so hard later because she never really got to live in the first place. Robin's story is not just tragic, it is lonely. And honestly, it makes every smile she has now feel earned. Trafalgar Law. Law's backstory feels like a slow emotional breakdown. He grew up in Flevance, a country destroyed by amber lead disease. The government knew it was poisonous but kept mining it anyway. So when the disease spreads, the entire country is wiped out to contain it. Law loses his family, his home, everything. And instead of saving people, the world just decides, yeah, let's erase them. That alone is already dark. But then comes Corazon. For the first time, Law finds someone who actually cares about him. And just when things start to look better, Corazon sacrifices himself to save Law's life. I still think about that silent crying scene. That was not fair. Law goes from wanting to destroy everything to actually finding a reason to live, and it costs him the only person who gave him hope. His calm personality later hides a lot of pain. You can feel it in every decision he makes. Nami. Nami's story is the kind that looks simple at first and then just hits you. She grows up in Kokoyashi village with Bellemere, who took her in as a daughter. Things are peaceful until Arlong shows up. He takes over the village and basically turns it into a prison. Nami is forced to work for him, drawing maps, while secretly trying to buy back her village. The worst part is Bellemere's death. She chooses to acknowledge Nami and Nojiko as her daughters, knowing it will get her killed. And it does, right in front of them. That moment explains everything about Nami, her hatred for pirates, her obsession with money, her independence. When she finally asks Luffy for help, stabbing her own arm in frustration, that scene is just painful to watch. And then Luffy puts his hat on her head. I am not saying I cried, but I definitely stopped blinking for a while. Okay, quick pause. If you're liking this video so far, make sure you subscribe to the channel. It really helps out and keeps you updated on all the new content. Let's continue now. Sanji. Sanji's backstory comes in layers, and somehow each one hurts more than the last. First, you have Barati. He almost starves to death as a kid until Zeph sacrifices his own leg to save him. That alone is already heavy. But then, Whole Cake Island happens, and everything gets worse. Sanji is revealed to be part of the Vinsmoke family, and they are awful. Emotionless, abusive, and treating him like a failure because he actually has feelings. Imagine being bullied for being kind. That is Sanji's life. He is locked away, rejected by his own family, and only escapes because his sister helps him. What I find tragic is that Sanji still chooses to be kind after all that. He feeds enemies, protects others, and holds on to his values. That is not weakness, that is strength. And honestly, after everything he went through, he deserves way more appreciation. Brook. Brook's backstory is the definition of loneliness. He was part of a crew that got wiped out, one by one, by a deadly poison. Before dying, they recorded a final song for Laboon, the whale waiting for them. Then Brook dies too, but comes back to life because of his devil fruit. Sounds cool at first, right? Until you realize he is now alone, completely alone, for 50 years, floating in the Florian Triangle with nothing but the memories of his crew. 50 years is insane. I cannot even go a day without checking my phone. And this man had no one. The scene where he talks about wanting to see Laboon again hits differently because it is all he has left. Brook laughs a lot, but behind that is decades of isolation. That kind of loneliness changes a person, or in this case, a skeleton. Chopper. Chopper's story is quiet but painful. He starts as a reindeer rejected by his own kind because of his blue nose. Then he eats a devil fruit and gets rejected by humans too. So basically, he belongs nowhere. That already hurts. Then he meets Dr. Hillaluk, who accepts him and gives him purpose. For the first time, Chopper feels like he matters. And then Hiluluk dies, not peacefully either. He sacrifices himself with a smile, leaving Chopper behind again. I think what makes this story sad is how innocent Chopper is. He just wants to be accepted. He wants to help people, and the world keeps pushing him away. When he cries, it feels real. Not dramatic, just real. And honestly, seeing him now as a confident doctor makes his journey even more meaningful. Franky. Franky's backstory is the type that sneaks up on you. At first, he just seems like a loud guy who builds ships and screams a lot. But then you learn about Tom. Tom was his mentor, the man who built the Oro Jackson, Roger's ship. When the government comes after Tom, Franky tries to stop the train carrying him away. Literally tries to stop a train. With his body. That does not end well. Franky gets run over and nearly dies. He rebuilds himself into a cyborg just to survive. And Tom is still taken and executed. What hits me is the guilt Franky carries. He blames himself for what happened. That is why he protects the Thousand Sunny so much. It is not just a ship, it is redemption. And every time he yells super, it feels like he is trying to drown out the past. Bartholomew Kuma. Kuma's story is one of the most quietly devastating in the series. At first, he looks like an emotionless warlord working for the world government, a weapon. But the deeper you go, the worse it gets. Kuma was originally a kind man, connected to the Revolutionary Army, someone who cared about people. Then everything is taken from him. He's turned into a pacifista, his body modified until he becomes a living machine. And the worst part? He agrees to it. Not for power, but to protect someone else. By the time we see him fully, most of his humanity is gone. He barely speaks, barely reacts, but small moments show something is still there. Sending the Straw Hats away at Sabaody was not betrayal. It was protection. I remember realizing later he saved them. Kuma's tragedy is not loud. He loses himself slowly for others, and in the end, he becomes a tool for the system he once stood against. Doflamingo. Doflamingo's backstory is tragic, but in a completely different way. He was born as a celestial dragon, basically at the top of the world. Then his father decides to give up that status and live as a normal human. Sounds noble, right? It goes terribly. The world they once ruled now hates them. They are tortured, hunted, and eventually his mother dies. Doflamingo, still a child, watches all of this happen. That kind of trauma twists him. Instead of becoming better, he becomes worse. He kills his own father and fully embraces cruelty. What makes his story interesting is that you can see where it went wrong. He was not born evil, he was shaped into it. And honestly, that is more unsettling than anything else. Senor Pink. Senor Pink's backstory sounds ridiculous at first, and then hits you out of nowhere. When you first see him, he is dressed like a baby. And you are thinking, what is this? But then you learn why. Pink was once a normal man, hiding his pirate life from his wife, Russian, because she hated pirates. They had a child, and for a moment, everything was fine. Then tragedy hits. His child dies, and his wife is left in a vegetative state after trying to find him. When Pink visits her, she only reacts when he acts like a baby, so he keeps doing it. Not as a joke, but because it is the only way she responds. Even after she passes, he continues to honor her memory. I remember thinking, yeah, this is not funny anymore. Senor Pink proves that even the strangest characters can carry the heaviest past. Thanks for watching this video. I hope you liked it. Stay tuned for more.